I do it for the most highs.
Yeah, we
I do
do.
it for the most highs.
Hey,
All praises to the most highs.
welcome, Noni.
Welcome, Ahava.
Are you in my home? What?
Totally at your home.
For the most
We're
highs.
here together,
I do it for
guys.
the
Yes,
most
you
highs.
are.
I
It
do
is
it for
Mel's
the
Morning.
most highs. I
Guys,
do it for the most highs. All praises to the most highs.
Welcome back to episode 13. And gracias, Rafael, for your música. And I can't believe I'm here next to you, you guys. This is the dream.
We haven't seen each other in person for about a year.
No more. Good to see you, sis. And we have such an awesome show. Listen, so many good things are happening, and we are so grateful to be able to share the amazingness. I told y'all we was going to talk about how it looks. And this ain't even the real juicy juice. I'm going to give you a little.
Yeah. We are. So it's Mel's Corner, you guys. And so I'm really excited about that. And we're going to go, Mel has all the brains of everything, But before we get into that, let's give a shout out to
We always have our beloved 13 plus 9 and Earth Baby.
which we'll be talking a little bit more about next week as well. I guess before we get in our sponsors, you guys, please hit us up on Instagram at Ahaya Kai and Noni Kai, and YouTube, Ahaya Kai, Twitter, Ahaya EBU, and email us, please. If you want to be on the show, shoot us an email, Ahaya K Consulting at gmail.com. Now let's get into our sponsor.
We are echoing, so we're going to have to figure out who to see. However, I do want to encourage you guys, like last week, I want to encourage you guys to tap on in the live.
Yeah, so we can chat with you guys.
Yeah, we want to talk to you.
We love it when it pops up the little messages. We know that you guys are listening in.
Some shout outs. Mel can't understand us. But we hope you guys are able to hear us clear. Maybe we can fix our technical difficulty before Mel comes in.
Hello. Look, I'm sorry to jump in, but I want to tell you, for some reason, your audio is indistinguishable. It went to a total echo. So for all the people listening in, we're going to correct the audio, and we'll be back with you in a second.
Yes, we'll come back. Tune back in.
Okay, talk.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
But
Okay, now it's working. It wasn't working before. Okay, you're good. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yay! Well, Mel, he's still here, but listen, it's okay. Sometimes we have some snafus. That's just how it is when you live.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you guys, we really do love hearing from you. So
we do.
Get on them keys, get on them cell phones, and tap on in. You can actually go to sourceradio.com and you can chat with us live there, or you can go to YouTube.
Yep, you can go to YouTube.
Ahaya Kai.
Yes.
And when you're there, like, share, and subscribe, as they say, so we can get this good information out to all of the small businesses as possible.
Yes. Now let's go ahead and talk about our sponsors. I'm super excited about next week. We're going to be talking about 13 Crystalline.
Y'all.
We're going to be talking about Earth Baby, talking about our businesses. And it's going to be so good. So that way you can get a little more personal, We can go ahead and tap into our personal lives of what we're really doing behind the scenes outside of the radio show. So make sure you tap in next week, because
2 weeks, I think we might have a back to back,
because we have so many businesses. So go ahead and tell them about your sponsors, your businesses that you have. And
well, I do represent Kai Management, and that is for all of your branding and web development needs. If you have products that you want to get into, let me know. I will help you grow your business and scale it out that way. If you have a business that you just kind of want to revamp, it's a little stagnant, maybe you just want a new logo, want something to pop a little bit more, I got you. So you can go to Kai Management and do all those wonderful things. I also represent 13 Crystalline, which is healing herbs, cleanses, and detoxes. Listen, y'all, it is imperative that you detox your body, but better yet, understand why and how to do it through nutrition and herbs. Okay, and then we both have Ahava Kai Consulting together.
We do, so you can get the perfect duo, you guys.
That's right.
So you can get your financial support and your branding consulting all in one. And then for my businesses, I have Ahava Financial Consulting or Education. Ahava Financial Education, where I can educate you just about your financial needs. Also help you with any personal loans, business loans, stuff of that nature, consumer financing. Business credit, I can be able to help you with that. And then I have Earth Baby, where my son and I'll do more of the background information about it next week, but we started a business together selling laundry soap. And so it's all your natural laundry needs. And so it's pretty cool. Check it out. And then we have Ahava Living, you guys. Ahava Living is what I'm super excited about. We're actually going to dive a little bit into it tonight with Mel and talk about how Ahava Living is becoming a franchise.
Listen, y'all ain't ready. But we're going to get y'all ready because this is something that you can do as well if you're in that mind state, right?
Yes. So book your consultation with us, you guys. Go to shopblackenterprise.com and book a consultation with us or submit your questions. Send us an email. Maybe you want to be on the show. Shoot us an email. Let us know your business wants to be featured on the show so that way we can, expose you guys and help you get your brand out there and give you some pro tips.
That's right. And if you don't have a business but you know somebody who does and that may benefit, let us know equally. We will take that information as well. And it's very simple. Let's go to Shop Black Enterprise, tap on that business planning tab, and type in that information. Okay?
So let's go ahead and get into our show, you guys. We have Mel's Corner.
Go ahead, Mel.
You guys, Mel is the owner of this radio show. He has just the most amazing credentials. He has built the business plan for PayPal. He's a neuropsychologist. He has done just about anything you can think of. Mel has done it. Already. Okay. He has built so many different businesses. He's helped me with my business plan and he just is amazing. So welcome, Mel.
Welcome, Mel.
Well, thank you so much for lying about me like that. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here, and I think when by the time this show is over, there'll be a lot of interest in the listeners about how they can start a franchise. Through the kind of effort that you're making to create something that's very unique and very, very low cost. So I'm going to talk about franchises, but I'm going to use what you two have put together as the missing link. What's been out there in terms of franchises that have made them to a lot of people unavailable. And that's the key. Also, I want to talk about how remote work is slowing dramatically. And that's the problem with, whether you work remotely or you work in an office, you're subject to the whims of an employer. And remote work, you can do at home and you own the business, not just your time, but you own your income. So, for a lot of people, it's a much more long-term growth, strategy that also produces less risk, and so, that's why I want to talk about franchises tonight, because I think it's timely, and I think it needed something to change the nature of how that works and what it is. So I'll start out with, go ahead.
So what is a franchise?
For
the people that don't know, what exactly is a franchise?
Funny you should ask. Funny you should ask. A franchise is a business that somebody has already established, and what you're doing, you're going to piggyback on their expertise and their brand. And so you don't have to start from scratch. And in return for that, you'll pay a fee. And that's been one of the big problems with most franchises, the size of the fee.
It's so
and then you'll make residual payments based upon the money that you make. And as your business grows, you'll pay to the franchisor an operational fee for being able to have the rights to some of their intellectual property. So in short, it's owning your own business without having to start your own business. Somebody else has started it for you, so you have much less time and cost invested, but you still can make a lot of money.
And for the simple folk, right, who really don't know what that would look like, a franchise would be something like, Dunkin' Donuts or an
Right.
LA Fitness or something of that nature. If you
Yeah.
see duplicates, most often it's a franchise. It's not necessarily, that company opening up their own. Every one of those locations has their own ownership of that company.
Yeah, and because it's branded, you can't tell whether it's a franchise or not.
Exactly.
They all look the same,
Right.
But that's only one kind of franchise is a company-owned store franchise where you have a model. They have to put in a lot of capital to build that location, staff it, and then they buy that store. They buy all of the products from the franchisor. So it's very costly. You have to follow recipes. You have to follow protocols.
Yes.
But there's other kinds of franchises that I want to talk about tonight, which is in the service industry. It doesn't require a building. It doesn't require, that you hire a lot of staff. That's really up to you. It doesn't require that that you have to have, some means of making sure that everything you do, everything that happens within your franchise, matches exactly the blueprint. The service sector, it's simpler because you don't have a structure, you don't have a building. So what you're doing is you're buying a blueprint for how you run a business and make money without having to invest in a structure, without having to pay rent.
Yeah.
That's a big cost.
Without having to buy products. You have none of those expenses, so it's scalable, it's easy, and it's much closer to being an employee, but you own the income and you own your time.
Right.
So
Sounds bueno to me. Because
yes,
that's really what everybody's issues are. It's like you want to be your own boss, but at the same time, you may not have the information to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it takes the headache out. Now with as a franchisor, you can actually do that. And
franchises run the gamut from on the low end, $10,000 up front. On the high end, it could be $5 million, depending on the kind of franchise you're looking for. And so
True.
yeah,
I was going to
so one of
franchise a
I'm sorry,
restaurant.
go ahead.
I was saying I was going to franchise a restaurant before,
wow.
and it was going to be a few $100,000 to be able to do that.
Exactly.
And so having a service franchise, honestly, I've never really heard of that many.
No, a service franchise is a good example of a service franchise would be a travel agency.
Oh yeah.
You see that's an example, but there aren't many. You're absolutely right about that. Most of them, are bricks and mortar, and there's a big investment.
Yeah.
So so let's talk about service franchises for a minute. And I think the best way to do this is to start off by talking about what you two have created, which I think is such a unique space. There are three different brands or three different businesses that come together in a very novel way. That's very cost effective, and for a franchisee, they can walk right in without having to, have much experience, without having to make a big capital investment. And the way you put this together, there are three core businesses, and the first one is probably the most significant. It's called rental arbitrage.
Yes.
And Hava, why don't you explain the rental arbitrage business and how that works?
So rental arbitrage, it's a perfect business for anybody that wants to get into real estate or even have their own Airbnb, but doesn't necessarily want to buy or have the funds to buy all these houses and stuff like that. So what you could do is instead of doing that, you lease from a landlord. And so it has much low costs going in versus, having to purchase a house to put it on short-term rental. So you're taking a long-term rental, turn into a short-term rental, and you're doing it directly with the landlord. And so you're building a relationship with the landlord. So that way, they trust you. So you're basically become a property manager, but in that space. And so it's a very, very unique way to be able to do that. And you can list it on Airbnb or different other places that you would like to list it on. And so, yeah, so that's the rental arbitrage business.
Well, how do you make money? If you're paying rent to the landlord, how do you make money on Airbnb?
So it's, so it's like a hotel. It's like a hotel, like a hotel. You're renting it out daily, so instead of, whenever you rent to somebody and you're doing a yearly lease or a monthly lease, this is not like that. This is nightly rates. So you have a nightly rate, a weekend rate. So that way you're able to still pay rent to the landlord. The landlord doesn't have to worry about anything anymore. They get their money on time every single month. You manage the property for them. So you're going to have, people come out to clean the property after each stay. It stays in perfect condition. And so the landlord's very happy because they don't have to worry about evictions or anything like that. And you charge the guest a nightly rate. And so that way you are happy and the landlord's happy and you're able to make a lot of money just like the landlord. They don't have to worry about anything and they get their small piece and you're able to make just as amount or, a lot more.
Yeah.
Okay, look, there's millions of people who are renting on Airbnb. Why would they choose to rent it and stay in the house rather than a hotel?
Well,
privacy
for one, but not just that. You have access. Well, there's different ways you can do Airbnb. For me personally, I rent the whole entire house. And so they have access to a kitchen. They have access to, maybe they have children. They can go play in the backyard. They can go play. They have just a lot more space and they can treat it just like their own home away from home. At a hotel, you're limited to this little cubicle, and you might have breakfast downstairs. You don't get to have your own home cooked meals or anything like that. And so it's very different. It's literally a home away from home. You have everything you need to make yourself at home. It's fully furnished or have all your appliances, silverware, just as if you just moved in, and it's already ready for you to go.
Wonderful. I don't want to give away all of your trade secrets, but one of the things that you've done, there's so much competition on Airbnb, especially in major cities, with people who are either doing rental arbitrage or just hotels that are listing or condominiums that are listing. So there's a lot of competition, but you found a way to bypass the competition and have your properties actually more preferable to most of the properties in an urban environment, but the properties are within reach of major cities, and
yes,
in short, you're developing what's called a blue ocean strategy. It's a non-competitive space. So, when you start to talk about franchisees, you would teach them these secrets of how they do this. And so when the property goes up for rent, it's rented almost immediately because it's a non-competitive space and very desirable locations.
Yeah.
And activities close by too. People like to, that experience is key.
Experience is always the key when it comes to people. And that's what I believe that's kind of what it is with anything. When normally somebody purchases something, normally it's for the how they feel, the experience. But you definitely want to create a niche. And I created a very unique niche. There's over 1 million different users that log on to Airbnb weekly. So people are looking for somewhere to stay. People don't really want to go to a hotel anymore. They would like to rent a house, and be comfortable and have a lot of space. So it's up to you to create your niche, within that space so that they want to rent with you. And I believe I've done that.
I think you've hit it on the head. The key word that Noni brought up is experience.
Yes.
What a lot of people, what they don't want is another hotel experience. They want something more unique. They want something more private, like you pointed out. And the experience is the key. They want to make it more than just a night somewhere.
Yeah, so, or tailored to them and their own aesthetic as well. She has a very good eye for the aesthetic feel. If you were in this
Yeah.
home right now, the smells are just giving all the life. It's just amazing.
Okay. Well, the next part of this is, and I think again, this is what makes this unique. So now you've explained what rental arbitrage is,
Uh-huh.
but so many people don't know how to find a property, don't know, how much money they should be considering in terms of creating a hotel at least level environment.
Yeah.
And also, how they put the listing up? What do they say about it? So
Yeah.
there's so much. And one of the things that you're doing, and I think this is what's so novel, you're going to be offering a course on some of the big course platforms, like Udemy is one of them.
Yes.
There's several of them, and people can take the course. You'll have modules up there. They can take the course, learn how to do rental arbitrage, and there's a fee for the course that's very low. And at the end of the day, when they finish the course, they're going to be a franchisee.
That's right.
And that never happens. You either pay a lot of money for a franchise,
Yeah.
or you take a course, but you never have the course and the franchise linked together, and a very very low fee. So I think the second step you have is offering courses, and creating the franchise environment,
Mm-hmm.
taking your expertise in rental arbitrage and extending it so other people can benefit from what you've learned and what you've created. And through your course, they'll become an instant franchisee when they finish the course.
That's right.
So
Yes.
that,
It's really major, and it's just a beautiful idea because it's going to be able to help so many people such a young age, and not just that, we're both moms. And
Always.
so, just be able to provide just another mom, their own business,
Yeah.
that's very easy for them to do with children. It's really going to be a very beautiful thing for a lot of people and affordable.
Exactly.
Not just that they can make a whole lot of money. It's not going to be just a regular remote job. It's going to be a remote business, but their money, how much money they can make, is literally limitless. It's totally up to them.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have a target amount in mind they could make, let's say, after 3 months? What you think,
After
would think would be
3 months,
reasonable?
after 3 months, if they follow my system and my plan, um, they can make $30,000 a month in 3 months. That's the goal. That's what the course is going to teach you how to do. And if you follow everything of how to do that, 30,000 a month in 3 months.
Terrific.
That's
Okay.
bueno.
Yeah, it's good so people have some idea about, exactly what they can expect, which, again, doing remote work, but it's almost impossible to make that at most remote work jobs when you work with
Right.
somebody else.
Yes.
And so, how time consumptive is it to put up one listing on Airbnb? How much time do you think a person would take, from to first finding the property, um, their actual work time, not the time it would take to make sure that property is presentable, but their actual number of hours worked? How would you, for one property, what would you say that would be?
Well, once you find a listing, say if the listing is going to be ready on the 1st, then on the 31st, you're going to already have everything lined up of what's going to be put in the house on the 1st. And so by the 2nd, it should be already put up on the market on Airbnb and already listed.
That's right.
And so I'll teach you how to, and that's only 2 days, so you have 2 days. And so that way everything's already structured out for you. You already have everything that's going to be in there that day before. So on the day that you get the property, you're going to furnish it. And on the second day, you'll just do just little touch ups, right? And then you can list it by that day. So 2 days. And then to list on the property for Airbnb, I'm sorry, you're going to get a virtual assistant. So you don't have to worry about a lot of things because a lot of stuff will be provided for you in the course, like a virtual assistant that will help you list your property and stuff on Airbnb or wherever we're going to do it at. And so that way it's done right and you don't have to worry about all the little knickknacks.
Yeah, besides Airbnb, there are other platforms like VRBO.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so you're gonna that's all going to be part of the instruction that you're going to teach people how the different listing sites work, so they
Yeah.
can take advantage of multiple listings.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so a person, if it takes 2 days, a person can do at least 2 or 3 properties a week.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and you have people that that are really driven like that, and they want to just go ahead and get it done right away. Like that's me.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that might just, maybe once a week, but even just once a week is still great.
Yeah.
Even if it was just once a month, it's still great, either way. But I mean, it's totally up to you of how fast you want to go, how slow you want to go. We will even help you with your listings of how to even find listings, and have those sent out to. And so you really will have everything you need
At your own pace.
at your own pace.
Yeah, now for for the franchisee, there'll be an operations manual of some kind, so they know the steps and what their role is and what the limitations are, because they are using your intellectual property, so there has to be some constraints, that certain things they will and will not do.
That's
Of
right.
course, because you're going to be representing a higher living.
That's right.
Right.
And so there will be a manual exactly of what you can do, what you can't do, and so everything will be completely clear.
And the other thing you're doing for them too, you're going to be having all the legal work done in the different states or different places they may be living to
Yes.
comply with state and local ordinances. First, for what a franchise is, and second of all,
Yeah.
what are the restrictions it might be on completing transactions. So all the legal work will be done. They'll have contracts from you. They'll have an operations manual. So
Yeah.
so through the course, literally, they're stepping right into their own business.
Right into it. Right into it. It will be it's a very easy transition. And they'll know everything that they need to know.
Yeah, and it's not something that they can't understand. It's a literature that will be very clear.
Mm-hmm.
And both of you will serve as mentors if they need any assistance or have a question.
Yes,
Yeah,
we'll be
absolutely.
mentors. And then you never know, one of the franchisees might become a mentor at some point.
That's right.
And so we'll keep adding mentors, especially people that graduate from the program doing really good. We'll ask them to be a mentor. We'll even pay them a salary on top of whatever they're already making. And so that way they can mentor you, because it's nothing like going through a course and teaching somebody something you already done. It just helps. It even helps the students so much, because it gives them the faith that if you did it, I can do it too.
That's right.
Yeah, and once they prove themselves, and you can certify them so that in a way that they can actually start their own franchises underneath
Yeah.
them.
Oh,
So
yes.
so so it's not, they can become the franchisor, as well. And so look, I mean, the opportunity is endless, and
It is.
the other things that you'll be lining up for them. You'll be bringing them into industry associations, particularly for franchises. There's the International Franchise Association. There's also the Federal State Associates, which is another very big association for franchises.
Yeah.
So through the franchises, they're going to make connections, and if they want to branch out and have other people come under their franchise, you're going to help facilitate all the connections with professional associations to
Yes.
build credibility for their business.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And the most important thing is that I'm going to help them with funding. And so that is really the game changer of my franchise, I feel like, especially going into rental arbitrage, is the funding. People pay these high amounts for these courses, and then at the end, oh, you're still going to need another $10,000.
Right. How am I going to do it? I've got the information and I can't do anything with it.
And so that's why there's going to be a very low cost, because we're going to help everybody with that. It's going to be very affordable, reasonable, and it's just going to make sense.
Okay, so we've talked about 2 businesses now, and that's an important point you just brought up. But we talked about rental arbitrage. We talked about the franchise business that you're starting, and there's another business which is unique, and I wanted you to talk about that. But what's the value of unique properties on Airbnb or any of the platforms that do rentals? What's the advantage of a unique property, and how would you define a unique property?
How would I define of the getting the properties?
No, how would you define what it is? In other words, I'm trying not to give away the
Oh,
information. We'll tell them about it in a minute, but I'm asking you, the advantage of a unique property on Airbnb is that it rents quickly. Am I right?
yeah, it goes very quickly.
Very quick.
For instance, my listing, as soon as I had it up, I was already listed out for like the first 40 days. Right now,
Yes.
one of my listings, I listed it just last month. It's already booked out to April, it books very fast. That's why I say it's important to find a niche. And for my niche personally, without giving out any of my secrets,
It's aesthetics, y'all. She's just got the eye.
the value, I'm just going to say that you can make as much as you would like to make.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about the third leg of this three-legged stool.
Okay.
The word is glamping. Why don't you tell everyone what glamping is and how that fits in, gives your franchisees a huge edge over anybody else, because
Yes.
they're going to tell us about glamping and how that works on Airbnb.
Mel is just giving out all the
All
tricks
the
and
cheese.
stuff, giving it all out.
That's right.
But glamping, everybody loves a good glamp spot. Okay.
What does that even mean? Some people might not
Glamping
know.
is glorious. Like, it's bougie camping. Okay.
Bougie camping.
Luxury camping.
Yes.
But it's going to be done right.
So all the anemones, you don't have to be in the woods with no toilet paper, y'all. It's not like that.
But for a Haya living resort, it's going to be different from any other glamping or campsite out there, because you're going to be in yurts and you're going to be in domes and you're going to have electricity. It's going to be very luxury with upgraded services, all decked out, private. And I don't want to tell you guys everything, but it goes right into it goes right in with everything, because it still will be a short-term rental. You can still put it on Airbnb. It's still a niche. That's what I say. You have to create your own niche. And all the resorts is all going to be very different, that you'll be able to glamp and have your own private sites and just be able to become one in nature. And that's one thing that I'm big with, is just nature. And that's what all three of my businesses have in common, is connecting with yourself and becoming one in nature.
So it goes back to the experience that we started talking about. So I guess I wanted you to talk about this third piece, because you're offering franchisees something they would never have been able to put together. And even for other people, you can tell people now about the three different pieces. Let them try to put it together. It isn't that easy. And they have to have a lot of expertise, to be able to integrate these three parts. But for almost, really almost the most negligible fee to get certified through the course, become a franchisee, they're going to have access to different kinds of properties that they had never thought of before.
That I've never thought of before.
And they won't have to even go out and get these properties, because the glamping is your third business. They can just book it, book it and make money just booking it. They don't have to do anything.
Exactly.
So, the franchise opportunity that you're offering is beyond anything I've ever seen before, in terms of, the simplicity, it's low cost, and it's high-end revenue income.
Yes. Thank you so much.
What a compliment, Mel. My
But
goodness.
I just want, I wanted to talk about franchises. I want people to see exactly what a franchise can be if they get the right one.
Yeah.
It's important to know what you're buying.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, franchising to me now is the future, because so many people don't want to work in offices anymore. They've made a clear statement they want to do remote work.
Yeah.
And so many people are being forced back to offices, and they have children to take care of. They want a lifestyle that's different. And you're offering something where, as the remote work diminishes, you're offering an alternative with a much bigger upside, much more freedom, and probably a lot, just a lot happier mode of work.
Oh, yes.
So that's why franchising, I think, is the future, and selecting the right franchise is very important.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm super excited about this. I'm really excited to be able to help a lot of people. We have a lot of great ideas when it comes to a high living, and I just can't wait to tell you guys the scoop.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm sitting over here quiet as I trying to be narcissistic.
Well, I'm done. I appreciate you having me.
Well, thank you, Mel. We did have some pro tips. We can go through those real quickly.
Go ahead.
And then, then we'll talk to you
1
guys
second.
next week. Show. But thank you, Mel. We'll talk to you next month.
Yay.
So things to consider when you're having your own franchise, you guys, is the pros, is the skipping the startup stage, like we already talked about. You get instant name recognition. You're going to get all the training that you need. You get everything that you need to be able to start your own franchise, your business, the marketing tools, the advertising, because it's already going to be a household name.
That's right.
So some of the cons is sometimes that is going to be very expensive. You have ongoing royalty payments, of course, because, you did just get a whole layout of business that you didn't have to create. It depends on the reputation that they have. Sometimes it comes with that, you do get the baggage. And then you have to abide by the rules and the agreements. And so those are the pros and cons.
Yeah.
Yes. So you guys, next week, though, I'm really excited about next week. We're going to talk about our businesses,
Nice.
13 Crystalline, and more of a high-end Earth baby. And so make sure you guys tune in next week.
To the most high, put low to the most high. I do it for the most high. I do it for the most high.
Go to Ahava Kai on YouTube and subscribe, share, and comment, and let everybody know how much you enjoy what we're doing. We really love your feedback, so we know that we're doing this for a good cause and not just for these pretty faces. So, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week.
Yes, get up all up in your business.
All up in your business. Oh, what happens if I can't book on a regular basis? Well, Miss Dawn, I think that what you'll have to do is tap on in.
Send us an email.
Send us an email. We'll respond to you in the comments section. But there is a way to do it for sure. And you can book. You can book on a regular basis. I believe that's what you mean. You mean booking. Booking. I'm not sure what you mean exactly by booking.
It's okay. Send the question over to Ahava K Consultant, and then we'll be able to answer it.
Yes,
see you guys next week.
Bye. The smells. Yeah.